do you think it's the end of the trust the process? This is the last stop on the train?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's been
I
one
think
hell of a train ride.
it was fun.
It was not fun, man. I wouldn't say it's fun. It seems like a miserable long train. Yeah, like in New York, this is how it is late night. When you take the train late night
Yeah.
in New York City,
Yeah.
the express train starts running local, and when it runs
Yeah.
local at night, it stops.
Yeah.
It'll pull up into the train station, it'll open the doors, and it will stop for like 5 minutes. And the trains
Yeah.
never do that. Like usually they pull in the train station, they open the doors, they're quickly trying to close it, right?
Yeah.
Like at late when you go late night, the train is just stopping. Then it goes to the next station.
Yeah.
It pulls in extra slow and it stops again because it's late night. That's been the trust the process train ride. It seems like a New York City 8 train line running local late night. This shit is like taking forever to get home.
I will give it credit to this. I'll give it flowers I'll give it flowers for this. It did leave a mark in NBA history because we saw the center position get revitalized. Like I think Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, one thing they deserve credit for, and one thing that's like makes their legacy so beautiful is they were able to bring back the center position, a dead position they brought back. I mean, yeah. I mean, before those two won MVPs, can you name me a center MVP?
A center MVP,
Shaq. Like
and then
we haven't had that since Shaq.
wow, and then maybe Hakeem.
Like the last MVP center we had was Shaq.
Are you serious? The last one?
Yeah, before Jokic and before Embiid, it was Shaq.
Wow.
And Dwight Howard fell second to D Rose. That's it. So that is one credit I'll always give to Embiid, that he helped reinvent the center position.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time. So it's been nothing but shooting guards and small forwards and power forwards.
Yeah, exactly. And power forwards.
Oh, Dirk doesn't count?
Nah, Dirk is power forward.
Wow.
Dirk, KG, they're power forwards.
No, yeah, the KG one wouldn't count, but the Dirk one, I'm surprised. It's not a center.
No, that's power forward. Then you had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kobe Bryant, Steve Nash. Who else won MVP? LeBron, obviously, D Rose. I already said Kevin Durant. Steph Curry, obviously. So yeah, that's it. It's just guards I could really name you, bro. So since Shaq, we didn't see an MVP. Jokic and Embiid were able to reinvent it. So I'll give Embiid that he was able to reintroduce the center position into the mainstream fold.
You know what? Like I said, that's probably the best part of the train ride of the trusted process. But again, like I said, it's a slow train pulling in late night. You're trying to get home, and the early portion of that train ride is Ben Simmons. The train ride was so slow because you're waiting for Ben Simmons' drunk ass to get off the train. Like in New York City, in New York City, where somebody's drunk, they sometimes stop the train. Oh, we got a person that's sick. They threw up. We gotta wait for ambulance. That's Ben Simmons on the train ride, on the trusted process train ride. Everybody's waiting for him to get the fuck off. Get the fuck off the train.
You had Ben. You had Markel. You had Jimmy make a stop, which was optimism. Then you had Tobias make a stop, and he didn't pan out, obviously, but he stayed a little too long. Al Horford didn't pan out. James Harden didn't really pan out because him and Morey kind of got into it. So, it was a lot of fuck ups in the process, but I think the trust of process, it won't age beautifully, but it won't like get ridiculed all the time.
Nah, it should.
Like I think
it should. It should. That
it
fan
should
base.
ridiculed?
It should, because that fan base had to endure and accept a brand of losing, where they wore it like a badge, like a Nike check mark. They wore it in hopes that this will be flipped. Just hold on. Just to see the people that they endured all that pain for come through the team like Ben Simmons and be a bust. Basically be a bust. And not only that, he ruined their opportunities because they already had the championship team. Jimmy Butler was there. Get rid of Ben, keep Jimmy. They got rid of Jimmy and kept Ben. So you keeping the guy that you tanked for and then he's the one that's delaying the train from moving.
And
Like
he
this
couldn't
whole
score on a
time.
5'11" point guard. You
Yeah,
know?
and then they finally realized it in 2019
Yeah.
when they trade, like them trying to trade for when they traded Ben for James Harden. That was the last minute ditch effort.
Yeah, that was after 2021 when they realized, yo, this guy can't score above 5'11" point guard. And this guy won't score in an important game.
Yeah, so hold on. So at the end of the day, this trust the process shit, they branded losing, they accepted
Yeah.
losing, and this is Philly. We're not talking about Sacramento. We're not talking
Charlotte.
about Charlotte, New Orleans. We're talking about
Yeah.
fucking Philly that
Yeah,
is
this is a
turned
legacy
up for their
franchise.
sports. Yeah, they don't
This is a
accept that
legacy
shit.
franchise.
Yeah, no,
But dude, the thing is,
that's an
okay,
East
I agree
Coast
with you
city.
on this.
It's an East Coast city. They don't accept
Yeah.
losing as a form of branding. Like that's
No.
unheard of.
Look, I'll accept I'll accept all of the points you're making. Like I agree with 100%. But what I'm saying is Embiid represents the better part of that process. I think you can agree on that.
So I don't know, man. You mean to tell
You
me
don't think Embiid represents kind of the better part of the process, or MVP, All NBA team, Hall of Famer?
what?
That he does represent the better part of the process. The process never panned out, obviously, but he does represent kind of like I think before the process failures are written down, I don't think he'll be one of the guys. Like I don't think his name will be brought up first. I think Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, I think Michael Colangelo.
He is the better process.
Those names will be
He
brought
is
up.
the better part of the process, but that's really not
Yeah.
saying much. They made
No.
Philly a town that where people take fucking pride. They branded
Yeah.
they branded a form of losing as a badge of honor. And then at the end, and at the end of the day, it has to pan out.
Mhm.
With Embiid, the only way they're gonna look at it positive is if Embiid wins. If it pans
Yeah.
out, if it doesn't pan out, that
Then
means
fuck it, who
yeah,
cares?
it's a loss, man. Philadelphia people
failure.
not accepting that, bro. Like I'll be honest,
No,
with
they're
you,
not accepting that.
the East Coast cities don't work like that. They're not accepting and branding losing. That's unheard of. When
The
Sam
Knicks tried
Hinkie,
and they failed.
wait, hold on, Sam Hinkie.
Yeah.
I don't know where he's from. He's definitely not from the East Coast. I can tell you that off
Nah,
rip.
bro.
I even have to look
I
him up.
think
I already could tell.
I think Sam Hinkie is from like California. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
honest.
it sounds like it because there's no East Coast guy that's ever gonna
Yeah.
come to Philadelphia and tell an owner we're branding losing. That doesn't even make any sense. It won't work here. It
Well,
won't work
Sam
here.
Hinkie's from the Netherlands.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's from the Netherlands. Yeah. But
Yeah.
but yeah, he went to Stanford. Makes sense. He's been out there on the coastline. Like yeah, it's just different, man. It's just different. Yeah, Philly.
Yeah, but I think the rebuild on the East Coast, you know who had a good job of it? Leon Rose. I don't know if he's from New York, but he clearly understood New York.
Yeah, he's from
the way
Jersey.
he built New
He's
York.
from the tri-state. He's from
Okay,
the
so he
tri-state.
understood how New
Yeah.
York sports works.
Yeah, exactly. But he understands that shit could never work.
Yeah.
That shit,
But
like,
even Sean Marks, in my opinion, he understands it he understands it. I'll give him that too.
yeah, it's like a certain, but you can't brand it. Trust the process,
No.
and then you selling shirts like that's crazy in Philadelphia.
Celebrating every loss. Yeah.
man, that's crazy. I never would think that would ever happen.
Yeah. I remember Michael Carter Williams Rookie of the Year. Trade him. You remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted to trade him the moment he won that award. Evan Turner, trade him.
Yeah.
Nerlens, I forgot how
Drew
many players
Holiday.
they traded. Drew Holiday.
Yeah, it's
They
like
traded a lot of guys.
yeah, they
just
traded
so, like,
a lot
you
of
know.
guys, a lot of losing. We're talking about a town that probably the best American boxing fighters came. You know, the best fighters out of
Yeah.
anywhere in the country, bro, came out of
It's Louis-
Philly.
Philadelphia.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
like,
Joe Lewis is from Philadelphia, if I'm not
yeah,
wrong.
Floyd Mayweather,
Yeah.
the best boxers. You know,
Yeah.
like come on, man, they're branding losing. Like that's unheard of, man.
It was a joke. It was a joke.
Yeah, it's like it's unheard of, man. It's like what? So at the end of the day, that's why Embiid has to win. Embiid has to win, man, or else this trust the
Yeah.
process shit. They're not going to look at that, man. Like that is a complete failure. That is a complete, and there's a reason why Sam Hinkie has not.
Got another job.
The NBA has pivoted away from him. He can't be back in the NBA, bro. They don't want that shit promoted that he was doing.
He hasn't been anywhere since.
No, he's pivoted to tech. He's in tech right now.
That's expected. He's a Stanford guy.
Yeah.
But I'm talking basketball wise. I haven't seen him anywhere.
Nope. It's to be honest with you, he was
Yeah.
only in basketball for a short amount of time.
Yeah. That was to sell the whole trust the process. I remember. Then they brought Michael Colangelo. Michael, I don't remember. Michael, I think he didn't do anything significant. Alton Brand, he made the trade for Jimmy and Tobias, and they got Horford signing. And there's nothing much crazy that I remember from those eras, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's just crazy. But you know what? Philly right now, why you think what's his name? Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey has not gotten into any of that analytical trusted process bullshit. No mention
Because it
of
only
that.
works in Houston. It
Yeah,
only works in Houston.
and that's where Sam Hinkie came from. He came from that tree. So
Yeah.
you know, Daryl Morey, he's an analytical guy, but he's you in Philly, man. Like I don't know how
You
the
can't
hell they
sell
sold that.
analytics to blue collared workers.
It,
Houston, the thing is a business city, right? So it's easy to sell like fucking business people on analytics, like business minded Houstonians on analytics. It's
mhm.
easy. Like media will buy into it. Threes are better than two. Long twos are a bad shot. Mid range is a bad shot. Yeah, it's easy to sell people that work in the oil industry, supply chain industry. It's very easy to sell those people the analytics. You're not able to sell it to Philadelphia.
No, and it's the
Yeah.
brand. And no offense, the brand because James Harden came out of that Houston brand of playing basketball with the
Yeah.
3-point shooting. I'm not gonna lie. When he went to the East, they do not like that brand of basketball that he plays. You
They
know,
don't like
they
flashy.
cheered for him, but his style of play, it's not
It's not.
ideal for the
No.
East Coast people. Hate that shit. Like
Bro, I think
that
all
whole three and layup. Nah, man,
yeah,
that's not basketball. Like
that's every like
that's a
Eastern Conference
dance.
teams are like that, bro. Every Eastern Conference team is like that. I think like even Cleveland, those kind of teams are like that.
Yeah,
That's why you see like Tyrese Halliburton so popular in Indiana.
yeah. There's a certain Indiana. They just like basketball. His passing is good, but
Yeah,
it's like if you look at the certain NBA teams, they like Indiana's one. They kind of they're kind of traditional when it comes to basketball. Like
yeah,
Indiana, Cleveland, New York, Philadelphia, Boston. There's a very traditional way. Even Boston Celtics, the way they're playing now, they're playing very modern, but at the same time,
yeah,
it's old school. They're playing great defense. They're strategically taking you out of your comfort zone. There's not too much like it's not straight. It's beautiful basketball. It's a certain way it looks. Like people from the East, they know how it's supposed to look like. This whole like the way Daryl Morey had him playing in Houston, that shit people cannot stand that shit. I keep it honest with you. That is not basketball to a lot of us. That is not
yeah.
basketball. That is very predictable and it doesn't work in the playoffs.
No, it's shown that it doesn't work in the playoffs.
Yeah, when you're playing against these
But it's
smart
easy to
teams,
sell Houstonians on it.
yeah, it's like it's not. I think Daryl Morey had a nice formula for regular season winning,
Yeah,
but I think what he did, he overreached. Like I feel
yeah,
like he was telling Mike D'Antoni what to do. That part I
yeah.
didn't
That's what
like.
he did.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't because when I saw that offense when Mike D'Antoni was the coach, like in the later years before right before James Harden and D'Antoni left, I was like, this is not D'Antoni's offense. Because if you look at Steve Nash and the Suns, they did everything. They took
they
threes,
were a
they did
mid-range shooting
layups,
team.
they took
Yeah,
mid range, they utilized the whole space. Daryl
yeah.
Morey had these guys playing like a formulated basketball I've never seen before.
No, I mean that's why you saw like pick and rolls prosper. Like Clint Capella played his best years, and James Harden and those guys were able to have their best years because it became much more of a one-on-one formulated basketball, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's more of a one on one, and then you guys took the same shots. It was either 3 point, or if it was inside the 3 point line, it was gonna be like a cutting layup or pick and roll alley. There was no
yeah.
in between. Like very few times it was in between. Like I never thought basketball could ever be like that. And then to see, I remember the series I was disgusted with the Rockets was when CP3 was bitching because they had like a formula where they were trying to get a certain amount of free throws and then combining with the 3 point shots and the layups. They
Yeah.
expected to like they had a formula with that where they were supposed to win just off the sheer number of how many times the refs gives CP3 and James Harden a whistle. But
Yeah,
but
it
hold
felt
on.
like they were playing
The only
basketball
part
because
hold on. The only part they didn't realize is that shit works in the regular season. In the postseason, the referees tuck in those whistles, so you're not
yeah,
getting those.
yeah. Because I remember against the Warriors, they were trying to sell a lot of plays. They were trying to sell a lot. You know what I mean?
against the Warriors.
Yeah, the following year, I think it was 2018. No, 2019. This is when they
Kevin
already
Durant got
lost.
hurt.
Yeah, and they were trying to sell, but I think it was game one where they were trying to sell a lot of their fouls. You know?
Yeah, that's the game I'm talking about. That's the
Yeah,
series, matter of fact. That shit was
yeah.
so annoying watching CP3. I've never seen CP3 bitch so much.
Well, they both bitched a lot.
Shit, man.
Even James bitched a lot that series.
Yeah, but if you look at the Warriors, they use analytics too, but they actually utilize the whole game. Like Steve Kerr will never ever have them playing like that. Steve Kerr is a champion with the Spurs and the Bulls, with Phil Jackson and Popovich. You think Steve
Yeah.
Kerr will tell you, yo, this whole space that's wide open, nah, no mid range? Like, no.
Well, I think the idea of mid-range jumpers being obsolete that the Rockets did try to like portray, it's a bullshit concept because that year Toronto Raptors, Kawhi dominated the mid-range jumpers that
Exactly.
series, the whole playoffs. Kevin Durant dominates the mid-range jumpers. I think it's been alive like throughout NBA's history. You know, the mid-range jumper, you cannot kill it.
Nope.
Like I think now the mid-range jumpers are more welcome because I think people realize how hard it is. I
No,
think you know who did a good job in calling out that bullshit was Charles Barkley and a lot of.
yo,
He
because
used to
they
be hard on that
understand.
fucker.
They understand that all if the fans realize all the NBA champions or guys who've been to the finals or high level in
Yeah,
the playoffs, they all call bullshit. Isaiah Thomas, Charles Barkley, they all call bullshit. They're like,
yeah,
wow, Charles Barkley said if I played against a team that was just gonna take layups and threes, that's an easy win. We exactly know what to do. We don't even have to game plan for them.
yeah,
Like that don't even make no sense. I was like, yo, you know, there was a time in the NBA where they just, I don't know if they were just trying to give jobs to their friends, some of these owners, but they just kind of said, hey, former basketball players, we don't want you like managing and building these teams. We're just going to give it to our friends over here coming out of MIT and Stanford.
yeah.
Like,
Because they wanted to techify NBA.
yeah, they did, and it didn't work
Yeah,
because you know why?
yeah,
I remember those years, we seen some of the biggest blowouts in some of these regular season games. In the first, by the first half, some teams were down by 40 points.
yeah,
Like I remember, what's his name, Earl Watson, when he coached the Suns. He said he had a front office guy come to him. He said the team had no 3-point shooters. They barely had 3-point shooters. They told him before the game even started that he had to at least attempt a number of 3-point shots, and he's sitting there wondering where is it gonna come from. They didn't have the personnel to even attempt those shots. But
yeah.
how can you pre-tell a coach before the game even start, this is how many 3-point shots you have to attempt? That's not basketball, bro.
No, that's not. It's computer analyst. And I also think during that time, sports was also drifting towards that. You remember the movie that was famous, Moneyball, where they ran the whole team based on analytics?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember
So I
that.
think,
That was dope. It was cool, but notice how it only lasted like for 1 year.
yeah. After that, they kind of burned out.
Yeah, the money ball has turned into what's something that everyone kind of oh, you know what? The Moneyball season has become the sleeper pick in fantasy. You know, everyone
Yeah.
loves chasing the sleeper. Oh yeah, I got the sleeper pick. You didn't know about this guy. In fantasy football, people love that, or in fantasy sports and overall. No, or you could relate it to the Euro pick back in the day in the NBA, where the general managers were always fiending to find a sleeper Euro pick. That used to be the
Yeah.
same thing. They used to chase after that. It used to be like a nice little high to them. Oh, I got the sleeper Euro pick. You don't know about this guy. But meanwhile, like more than like 90% of them failed. So it's
Yeah, I agree.
it's like a gold rush. This
It is a
whole
gamble.
yeah, it's like a nice little gamble. It's like being
Yeah.
on tilt in poker.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it sounds nice. It's a nice little rush, a nice little high, but when you really step back and look at it, this shit don't work.
Nah, it don't work at all, bro.
Yeah, it's just like, it is what it is. But James Harden, I give him props. He found a way to manipulate the game. You know, he did his thing. He manipulated the rules. But now that they've taken away those rules, so this season so far, like he hasn't
He's killing
scored.
it.
He hasn't scored crazy amount of points, but his assist numbers are nice. Like he's making good decisions. Got to turn the ball over a little bit less, but
Yeah.
he's doing his thing, man. I can't front.
Yeah, he's been great.
Yeah, he's been doing his thing, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, the game is ever evolving. But to take away certain aspects of the game that's part of it, it's like the
Yeah.
Rubik's cube. It's almost like taking away the colors in the Rubik's cube. How the
Yeah.
fuck you gonna complete it if you took away the colors?
So what's the point of even playing the Rubik's cube at that point?
Yeah, well, that's basically what Daryl Morey did to Mike D'Antoni in the 2019 Rockets.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what the fuck is this? I've never seen that before. They were not gonna beat Kawhi like that. They were not gonna even beat the Warriors.
Yeah, they didn't beat Kawhi that year, 2017. Then 2018, they lost to the Warriors.
Yeah, 2017, I think the Kawhi got hurt too. Man, imagine if Kawhi didn't step on who he stepped
Zaza Pachulia.
on Zaza's leg, man. I think the Warriors, I don't know if they would have. I don't know, man. He kind of was in their ass.
Finals.
Yeah, I don't know.
They would have went to the finals, but it would have went to Game 6 at least.
Yeah, he was kind of in their ass. But you know, so funny, that series kind of played out in 2019 without KD. Like the Warriors were kind of struggling against them, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably another breakdown I should do on that shit.